Welcome to Throttle Roots Podcast with host Ray Restoglide and co-host Joe Black Sheep Dyna 33. Viewer discretion advised. Please get parent consent before viewing.
Thirsty Thursday. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Good. I'm glad to be back in the garage. It's been a minute. If you don't know about our podcast, we do it literally in my functioning working garage. And so I look forward to Thursday. It's been like a couple of weeks. I was really looking forward tonight and talking to you guys. So I appreciate you guys rolling through, man. Thank you guys very much.
Heck yeah. Thanks for having us. And it was cool meeting you a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I had been checking you out beforehand, so I've seen a little bit of it.
Humbling. That's cool to hear, man. Yeah. I'm excited to dive into this, but before, of course, I got to let our people know this is sponsored by Law Tigers. We know the risks that we take when we throw our legs over these bikes. It's just part of the game. It's part of what we do. But if you ever need help, 1-800-LAW Tigers. They $1.5 billion. That's a lot of money to have recovered. That's a lot of work to have done. And I have friends, fortunately, knock on wood, in every place I have not been, needed in that fashion. But I have had friends that have gone down and the legal and all the other stuff. And you don't want to deal with that. You're already stressed about your bike and everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah. Let
someone else deal with that type of stuff. So, but GP suspension, man, I was pretty, it was very nice to have met you over there in Fillmore briefly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I don't think know, even locally, that you guys are local. Yes. I don't think that a lot of local people, they know the name, but I don't know that they really know that it's right here in our backyard. Man. Yeah. So introduce yourself really quick. Who's sitting at the table? Who's on the podcast with us today for GP? Of course. Defer. Yes, attaboy. Hey, I'm a married man too. I know how it goes, man. That's right.
That's right. I'm Brisa.
Brisa. Nice to meet you, Brisa.
Nice to meet you too.
Yes, well, on the podcast, so to say. But what is your involvement in GP?
I've actually been with GP Suspension before it was owned by you and your business partner.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been with GP for like 15.
Wow.
Maybe 14 years?
A long time.
time. You've got some history. You've got some skin in the game, so to speak. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I kind of manage everything, to be honest with you. I wear a lot of hats. But
so when people are calling, they're talking to you, they are, okay.
Yeah, I usually answer pretty much every phone call that we get. Yeah.
It's the best when a dude calls in and be like, I need to talk to somebody that actually knows. And she'll be like, I'll be listening or something. And it's pretty funny when she knows way more than the customer.
15 years in a specific genre, just suspension wise, you got it dialed, I would say.
I would hope so. I've been doing it long enough to where that'd be pretty bad if I didn't.
I agree.
And on top of that, she rides a motorcycle better than most.
What do you ride?
So I road raced for a long time. I mean, I'll ride anything, but yeah. So I started. I've ridden a lot of different motorcycles. I road raced started on a Ninja 650, then like a CBR 600 RR, and then an R6.
Okay. A little bit of everything. Then.
Yeah. So
you like the speed then?
Yeah. But I also,
we've been
picking up Harleys, and I've been super amped about it. We just got a new FXDX that we're building that I'm gonna ride, and I'm super excited about it.
Which year? 2000? 2001. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's gonna be badass.
It's gonna be really cool.
That's a good base right there. That's a good base to start with right there.
Yeah.
I mean, as a twin cam early Dyna junkie, that's one of the good bases right there to kind of start with. Yeah.
I'm so excited. It's I'm really excited about it. Yeah.
I bet it's a completely different bike for you then. You've never had anything like that.
Yeah, I'm like, the bars are up here. It's
yeah,
cool.
Different realm. We're going to tap into that, I'm sure, because we were talking briefly over there. You guys are relatively new to the Harley stuff in comparison to what GP has been, around and involved with
100%
for more of its lifetime. But introduce yourself, old boy.
I'm Corey. I'm one of the owners at GP Suspension, and I've been involved with the company for about 8 years now.
Okay.
And it's a long story how I got there, but my background is motorcycle road racing and flat track.
Okay.
And motocross as a kid.
Did you go to the flat track, by the way? That was over here.
I was there.
I didn't catch you there. Yeah, we were over there. Yeah.
Yeah, we the Honda team that was there was on our stuff. So
Wow,
we were
okay.
there working with them.
So you guys were in the pits and everything then, with
Yeah.
hanging out. Okay.
Yeah. We actually shut down for the full week to do testing and run through some dyno scenarios and everything to get ready for this weekend.
Wow,
Unfortunately, our rider had a big crash and
was it there? That crash happened right in front of me.
That was our guy.
Oh man,
Yeah.
yeah, that was. I just caught the tail end of it because I was kind of watching, and then all of a sudden I just saw things flying, and I kind of caught the tail end of it.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that was probably pretty rosy. Okay.
had surgery late Saturday night on his foot, but apparently he might ride this weekend. So
Gangster with it, man.
Gotta love motorcycle
Oh
races.
man, you can't take it out of somebody, can you? I mean, you look at these motocross guys that break bones. Travis Pastrana's. I mean, you can't take it out of somebody, man. Look at Evel Knievel. You couldn't take it out the guy, man.
Yeah.
It's something that is off in our brain for some reason. That wire's not there
for sure. But racing's a big part of our background. So I come from road racing was my main thing, and then that's how I kind of got involved with GP. I did my last year racing. I was on GP suspension. Anyways, long story short, became one of the owners of the company. But about 6 years ago, I really wanted to get involved in the V-twin stuff. I'm around Harleys a lot. Have been as a little kid. I come from a motorsports family.
Okay.
Father's he's had a lot of Harleys and I've been around it, but I was a moto kid.
Yep.
And then I just never, to be honest with you, I wasn't too into riding in the street.
Okay.
Even all my road race years, I never rode on the street. But
I think once you get a level of track, you kind of.
I've always just been the track.
Yeah. I feel you.
And then the other thing is when you're riding motorcycles for a living, when you get home, you just want to be away from it. And then it slowly flip-flopped to where now I'm really enjoying riding on the street, and albeit being very careful. But it's the whole V-twin market has been fun. But I've always been a huge fan, especially like the Harley XR 750. Like I want to have one in my living room one day. Like that's the goal. Like,
I feel you.
I have a lot of appreciation for old flat track. I'm kind of a historian that way. Road racing as well. But Harleys have always been around. I've just never had my own.
I feel you.
Then when we got into the V-twin market about 6 years ago, we just started chipping away on our R&D, and really we were very quiet for a long time. We did a lot of R&D, and in time, Brisa got all of our sales together, and it's just been a gradual. We didn't want to come in and be loud.
Yep.
We have a huge appreciation for other companies that are in the business. We just took our time, and now we've arrived, and we're super proud of our product. She knows so much; it's insane, and
I'm so excited of what you guys brought here, man. Because we're gonna geek out on this a little bit tonight, man. Because I understand the geometry and kind of the basics of what it is, but then to be able to sit down with, like you just said, she's a plethora of knowledge of what we're going to look at, and a lot of people don't understand the suspension aspect of it. They see the reservoirs and they see the nice stuff, and they know the name, they know that it's going to perform well, but they don't understand all the valving and the oils and the spring rates and all the things that are kind of thrown in there.
And that's kind of how it got started. Like 6 years ago, I was over at a buddy's and to barbecue, and he pulled up on his bagger. I'm kind of making fun of him, and then I'm like,
as you should have.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Let me ride this thing. And so I went around, cruised around Santa Rosa Road on it, came back, and I'm like, this thing's super fun, but the suspension is absolute garbage.
And I'm guessing completely stock suspension.
Yes.
Yeah.
But everything else done. Everything. Real. You name it. There wasn't anything. But I'm like, how do you not have it? It does the police, like every gear shift, it's like bottoming out. Like, and I'm being as smooth as can be. And I was just like, I came in one day and I'm like, we need to get involved in the V-twin like right away.
Man, and people like me, and now a lot of people understanding and are glad that you did dip your toe, because it's there's a new genre of Harley people. I know you guys are kind of just getting into the Harley aspect of it, but you've been around it for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've been around it, man, since I can remember, man. I was a little kid with my old man and his friends riding their bikes in and out of the driveway, oiling them up and doing all that stuff. So I've been around it my entire life. And it's a different genre, and the people think that GP is just maybe a Harley-based thing because it's a new wave of people.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good for me to see companies like yourself dip your toe into it, because it's neat.
Yeah.
It's like I've been a Harley guy for like a very long time now.
Yeah.
And I recognize all the flaws. I'm going to keep it real that a Harley, let's be real, kind of has.
Yeah.
That's why you have to change the bars and the foot controls and the seats and the suspension and
Absolutely.
the wheels. And I mean, that's just kind of the niche. That's what it is.
And what's so cool about it is like getting to meet you guys, and I've got friends like that same guy, that bike I rode 6 years ago. It's so cool to see how everybody fits it, does their own thing.
Yep.
Like it's not just a set in stone, set it, forget it, and go. Maybe suspension is set it, forget it. But it's cool. And like building our bagger, I wanted some things, and I was kind of told, man, no, maybe do this, but I just stayed focused on and really thought about it, and it's so cool to. Now it come full circle and go out and ride it, and I'm super comfortable on it. I love it.
That's cool.
That's
cool,
man. I'm so blown away how, like performance bagger, even performance Harley, how good they actually are.
When you do the right things and you have the right pieces and the right components, then you can do miracles. I mean, you can do a lot of things. Look at the ones that are on the track now. You never thought you'd see a Harley to that level of like swing arm and machinery and engineering. Like you never thought you'd see something like that.
Yeah.
But if you take you do the right R&D, put the right people in, and a lot of things can happen. Yeah, and we're super pumped to we have Max Flinders, and he's been on the podium twice in the last year with our stuff, which is awesome. And GP, we've been on the pole of the Daytona 200, I think 3 times now. And we've missed winning the Daytona 200 by just a smidge. So we've had a lot of success, and we've got 50 or 60 track records that have since been broken, but and we've got over. I think we're close to like 700 regional championships over the years. GP's old. It's what year? 1990.
Yeah, it's like
94. That's
like the perfect segue of what I was just thinking is like, I hear your foot into the door was 8-ish years ago. And then 5-6 years ago is when you start recognizing there's a market there or there's a need there for it. Yeah. And Brisa, you've been there for 15-something years, and so that's 2010, 2000 somewhere. But you're talking 90s. There was also still a generation, or there was still stuff happening prior to even all of your guys' experience and what you guys have brought to the table before this.
Right, and the original owner is Dave Hodges, who worked for us just until recently as our engineer. But dude's his brain is something else.
There's some people that just have that knack.
He's next level, like just the way he dissects things, and
you need someone like that on you, especially in your guys' world where it comes down to just fractions of stuff that make a difference.
And now we have a kid named Thomas Davidson. He's been with us for 2.5 years now, almost 3 years, and he's great. He's incredible. Been so good, like just always looking to innovate. Like finds a problem and just will sit there and. It's nice because we manufacture everything in house, so it's so easy for us to be like, hey, we need a part that can do this or work this way or something like this, and you can just write it up, draw it up, make a program for it, pop it out on the machine, try it out, throw it in the dyno, So he's like, it's really easy for us to innovate, I would say, and that's been cool to see.
Having those abilities in house makes a world of a difference.
Oh yeah.
If you have to farm that out, you got to try and explain what you need to the next person. Hope that they can do it. It's a world of a difference.
Just the timing in it, you have to wait. But with our guy now, he can have something. He's come up with a part in one day, we needed, and got to test it the next day. We had it basically next day.
Giant asset to be able to have and to progress, just in general. You can repair and do what you got to do, but have somebody that's thinking forward in terms of where you guys are kind of going. So it starts in mid 90s or so, and I guess just what was it originally? Moto,
just
road,
off-road? No, road race.
Road racing.
Yeah, just road racing.
Okay, just road racing.
That was the core for a long time.
Okay.
No, we never did off-road. We stayed out of that. And so did Dave when he had the company. No off-road. And just road racing, but at an extremely high level.
Yeah.
And
so he started as a racer himself, started building this stuff kind of for himself, or
he dabbled. He wasn't very good on a motorcycle.
he just understood the geometry. He understood I get it.
He'll never watch this. It's fine.
I mean,
but different minds are different. He
Yeah.
understands the need of what needs to happen to bring it to be able to put
his
it together.
brainwaves are next level.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't necessarily have to ride a motorcycle to understand the geometry of what it needs to function right.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
he just dedicated. Sounds like he just dedicated himself to going. I can make you ride better and shave seconds. That's what people are looking for when they're racing, shaving seconds.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
He was next level.
That's cool. That's cool. And he just recently retired.
He left in 2018, I think, the beginning of 18. But he had to have double shoulder replacement. So he was in the service, and he used to put transmissions in Humvees, and he'd do it on his own, hold the thing while he cranked it in, and then this shoulder blew out. So then he went to this one.
Oh my gosh,
dude was gnarly.
Man. Wow. Yeah. So interesting then. You start with road racing, get really involved in that. Is it really how long until you maybe hit, I guess, mainstream in terms of like bringing it over to like public? Is it mostly just racing applications for the first while?
Yeah, and then, I mean, you could probably. I mean, people were putting on street bikes too.
Yeah.
Like
We had
riding.
he had really, because he wasn't able to really, he only had so much manufacturing capabilities because it was just him and a couple other guys. So he was just wearing a lot of hats, I think. So he had little like FJRs.
Yeah,
the Yamaha FJR suspension.
I see.
So he had little niches where he like kind of.
I see. Okay.
So like a lot of FJR.
I see. Okay, so he kind of, what do they call it? I don't know. You kind of just rebranded or used your stuff for different type of shot company. Is that what?
No. He so Yamaha FJR. It was like
gotcha.
It was like a touring / sport bike.
Gotcha.
But there's a huge niche, and he found that niche and really made that bike better, and it spread like wildfire for him. That was a big part of his business. But no, for us, it's always been road racing.
Gotcha.
And then we brought in the V-twin market, and now we're primarily V-twin now.
That's the dynamic changes, huh? Isn't that interesting?
It's cool, and the people we've met, and just the way it's just shifted. Road racing is still fairly strong in the U.S., but it has tapered off a little bit. But the whole, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole demographic of, I feel like the Harley, the performance side has really changed. A lot of younger people involved.
Sure.
I mean, I've been to Daytona Bike Week since a little kid. I've walked around. I mean, 10 years ago, I had about 40 of these and walked around by myself just studying like what's going on with this Harley market, But back then I didn't see it.
I feel you.
And then one of our guys got third in the Daytona 200, and I was there for that. And that was in 2007. It was 18, and I cruised Bike Week by myself, after the races and just checking things out. And that's when I was like, okay, this is all making sense. Like, I just saw the demographic changing from a mom and pop. We've got a bike that we bought off the showroom floor. We're going to spend $3,000 on leather and goofy helmets, but we're not going to touch our bike. To bikes were getting way more serious. Yeah. And I know there's always been guys and gals that have hopped them up, but now it's like these dudes are riding these things hard. So
I think you're right on it, man. Is we figured out that you can make these big things move. You can scoot on them if you do the right modifications to them.
Yeah.
You do have to do modifications to them, but we found out that not only can you ride them long distance, not only are they comfortable, not only does it have the radio and the this, that, and the other, you can actually, you spend some money in the right setup, you can have a lot more of an enjoyable time with the ride than you did before. I hated riding the touring bike when I first got it. I got it in 2015, and for the first year, I got it with stretch bags, and I bought it because I'm like, that's what I want. And I'm like, that's what I need. That's what I want. I want stretch bags. I want stereo. That's what I feel like I need in my life. And that's what I bought. And it did the perfect job for me to do the riding I was doing, which was crossing state lines. Yeah. It did absolutely everything. It ran fine. It did everything it needed to do. But then after a year or so, then I started riding a little bit different. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, these bags alone are scraping every time I turn a corner. Now, the more aggressive I get. That was the first thing to go. Then, okay, this thing bounces like you said, terribly. My back hurts now after riding this thing. So you start addressing the things because your riding style starts to change. And I think a lot of people have finally started to maybe turn and look more their not a lot of people, but there is a market now, like you're talking about, where it's the ride and that stuff before the everything else. But the really good thing about, I think, the performance bagger stuff is that it's nice looking when you do the stuff, right? Like the jewelry is like, let's be real, it looks good, you know. So you're getting a little 2-for-1 here, both in better performance, and then if you do something like you guys have here on the table, you're getting a little jewelry along with it for some flash and stuff, you know. So, and then ultimately you come out with a good looking performance bagger looking bike with a lot of machine parts, and it looks like exactly like you said. It looks like a monster that wants to just eat everything.
Yeah, no, I respect the hell out of it, and I mean, what some of the things that have caught me by surprise. One of our guys, Pork Drizzle, who just texted me.
I know Porky.
So
I know Porky.
So when Porky's bike showed up at
Porky and I go back a long way actually. But go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
When his bike showed up at our shop, I really I just went over it.
It's a good bike. It's an amazing bike, guys.
And then just to see where the gains are and the reasoning for things, and then some of the things he told me, and then to actually go ride. I didn't ride his bike. He wanted me to, but I want nothing to do with that. But to go ride with him and to just see certain things and how it works differently and stuff, it really sunk in. Like,
I got you.
I really started to understand some of the stuff, and it's really no different than being on the racetrack, the way we make changes to our road race bikes and stuff. So I just got it, and it's so cool to see people out ripping on these bikes. You know,
it is, man. And you need stuff to be able to do it. I guess, unfortunately, because that's just what you buy when you buy a Harley. You buy upgrades. Like, I always tell friends, like, I'm getting a Harley. Oh, I'm like, oh, you thought that's just the start. Like that was the buy-in. That was just the buy-in into this game. Here you go. Good luck, you know, or not good luck, but here's what you got signed up for. You know?
Well, spending some time on our bike now.
What a bagger then? You said you have a bagger. What year is it?
2022 Road Glide Special.
2022 Road Glide Special. And you're working on an 01 FXDX?
Yeah.
Night and day.
The FXDX. I don't know. I looked at that bike for it's been years. Honestly, it was like when I first started thinking about it. I think I might want to get a Harley. For some reason, I just wanted the FXDX. I was like, that just looks like, just like, build it up really cool. I love the classic looking ones with the cool paint jobs.
Yep.
I don't know.
We got big plans for that bike.
You'll build a bitchin' ass bike. So you guys do 39 mil stuff, all that. So you guys cover kind of like the full spectrum of it. Let me ask you, because I don't know if this is one. See, that's an old fat boy right there.
Yep.
That's an original soft tail, as they call them now. Yep. Do you guys make suspension for stuff like that as well, where it's like the shotgun shock that's down below? Because that thing's below the frame.
Yeah, shock, no.
You guys don't do anything for like stuff like that yet. You guys are in the monoshock game, though, right?
We are.
You were in the monoshock game. Okay.
Almost. Well, so we have a monoshock coming out very soon.
Okay.
We're hoping to have it by middle of July, but it might be like August.
I feel you. But okay, so nothing you've dropped yet, or nothing that's available yet, but it's in the works.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be really sick. I'm really excited about it.
So this is kind of a project we've been working on a while that she's been heading, but it's going to be badass. Performance-wise, it's going to be, we're super proud of it.
It's going to look really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like if you did a lot of road racing in the beginning, monoshock is something right up the alley.
Totally,
like that's because it's a different valve. There's different spring rates. There's a different setup completely.
Just the way it sits in the bike too.
Correct. Everything about it is different. But coming from a road racing background, I feel like that would be right in the wheelhouse of like what GP can really probably put out a good product.
We're super proud of it, and it's going to be when we launch this thing.
Excited for you guys.
Thank you.
So June, July is when people can kind of expect this thing.
July. It'll be
July.
Mid-July at the earliest.
Okay.
But we're pushing. We're right there. Like, we've got a finished product. Now we're just getting into manufacturing right now.
Yeah.
We got our manufacturing schedule done, and we got to run with it.
So there's a process to this. There's a process.
Yeah.
So,
and the one thing about our products is on our fork kit, everything's made in our shop in Oxnard. And our shock will be made. It's American made. Every single part is American made.
I stand behind that type of manufacturing.
And I will tell you, it is very hard when there's that many components involved to keep it in America.
I would imagine.
And in house, you know. So
it feels like that's something. Like it feels like you mentioned that because that's important to you guys. As a brand.
It's very important.
I mean, I feel it when you say it.
Well, there's a lot of companies, and no disrespect, but when you look at it in detail, it might not be really. It might be
Okay.
assembled, you know.
Yep.
But I noticed there's some companies out here I have the utmost respect for, whether it's made here or not. But it is super important to us.
I feel it.
Super
Everyone
important.
has their
Yeah.
their level, and sometimes things with business dictate a little bit, how you have to run it. But it doesn't necessarily always devalue the product. It's just made a little bit different way. But taking pride in doing it, like right here on right here, that's a different level. That's a different feeling for a lot of people also that buy it. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you
in doing that.
We're proud of it for
that.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So a little bit about these beauties that you guys brought here on the table for us. What is there different models? Like or is this kind of like your standard for a bagger? What are we staring at a little bit here?
This is our standard for a bagger, except it's got our colors on it. We did this for our bike.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. We did. Can I talk about the hose lines?
Yeah.
We're not pumped on our hose
We're
lines.
not.
Okay.
We're switching to black,
Yeah,
and we're
gonna be black.
gonna run them a little shorter. In the
Okay.
beginning, we went with this length because people were mounting them in so many different places. But now we're starting to realize that.
We thought we were like, oh yeah, this is gonna be awesome. We're gonna, people are gonna be super stoked. And everyone's like, what's with the lines? It's super long, and I'm like, yeah.
Hey, Porky loves those lines.
I think the advantage of that is it gives you options. I think that speaking from like from a consumer standpoint, I think it gives you options. But yeah, I feel what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
You guys look at it in a different point of view. I do like the black though. The idea of black lines. I can see I mean, if you didn't tell me about black, I'd just look at this and go, I like the way it looks.
Yeah.
But then when you said black, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the call. Yeah. So it looks good though. It's a beautiful shot.
Thank you.
So what size is this right here? What is kind of standard? Standard, or you guys have multiple shock heights?
Yeah, so this is our it's 12.8 to adjust to 13.1. So like
Okay. So
the
there is
baggers-
adjustability in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is height adjustable. So we would call this our like base standard length shock, what you would pair with like a standard length front end, even though it is a little bit taller than some of the shock lengths that come stock on a bagger. Like a bagger shock, like I want to say they come like stock between like 12.3 and 12.8.
Something like around
Just
there.
depends on like which model. So this is what we would.
Can I see that one of those?
Yeah, we kind of worked out the geometry. Like we spent a lot of time working out the geometry on those bikes, so just seeing what length would be ideal. So you can run that with a stock length front end, or up to 1 inch over front end.
With this setup here.
Yeah.
And I think I want to know, because you're way more knowledgeable on it. Let me make context that before I get started. That the reason that I think you say, hey, this is this is a setup for a stock front end, is because geometry and a lot of things matter when you start going and changing things.
Absolutely.
And you move and stuff. So there's a reason that Marisa is like mentioning, like, hey, this is the recommendation for this. So make sure that you're kind of listening. It's a directive in a sense, but it is also like informative when you're given that type of information. Geometry is very, very important when it comes to suspension. You guys can tell them all about that shit, but it is very important. So is there a next level up then from these then?
Mm-hmm.
You guys do have so I've seen others though, and I'm just curious. I've seen others where you just take off something on the bottom and you put a taller extension on it.
Yep.
Is there a difference between that and then offering a completely different setup for a taller shock setup, I guess?
I mean, you're not like, it's not like you're getting, it's really just, honestly,
shock.
I just liked the idea of not having the extension. I just thought the extension was like a little bit, I don't know. I just liked, it's a nicer product to just have it in a taller, we have a 13.5 to 2 or 14 inch shock. And we thought about doing the extension, but we were like, you know what? It's just nice to have a shock.
I asked that, this is my opinion and my feeling, here you go, let me set that down there, is that I always felt like, I get the extension, it's nice to be able just to bolt it on,
Totally.
and it's easy, quick, done, get some more height, totally get it. But I always felt the same exact thing I just said, is where I'm like, it feels like an add-on. You can tell like that was just like, oh, that was like an afterthought a little bit.
Totally, yeah.
So, I mean, I get it, it's simple and it's easy, but that's always been my feeling, like, oh, I can tell.
Yeah.
I wanted more. Here you go.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
So I feel you on that.
Yeah, and I mean, we were like the Olin's HDO44, which would be like the crossover competition for the shock. Like, a lot of people have those shocks already, and if they're like, hey, I want to get your 2-inch over front end, I'm like, yeah, if you don't want to spend the extra money on the shocks, just, Kraus makes that 1-inch extension, you just put it on. So it's not like we're like, oh, don't do that. Like, it's not a good,
of course.
yeah,
of
but
course.
yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, it feels like an afterthought. It's just like not as nice to have.
And I'd rather, if I'm going to go tall, if I'm going to go a longer shock, I'd rather have more body there. I'd rather have some more than just the threaded kind of extension on the sitting on it.
It's just cleaner.
I think it's just cleaner in that sense. So, question: when you start going up to that height, you guys, now that you're in the V-twin stuff, I know, like, where does it kind of start? The swing arm, oil pan stuff, maybe start coming into play. Does it? At a certain level, is there clearance levels with that? I've heard things.
I mean, if you have like an aftermarket swing arm, like 14 is pretty much the extent you can go with.
Without making major modifications.
Without swing arm,
yeah.
Really.
Okay.
Which
is still jacked up there for a Harley.
Yeah.
That's jacked up there.
But like in road racing, we're always trying to get center of gravity lower and lower and lower to get the bike more flickable. With these bikes, when we're learning, going up kind of makes it so much more just. It's amazing, the turning capabilities. It just comes alive.
Different dynamic. Huh?
Yeah, totally changes it. Like, I mean, it's huge. You kind of like, I feel you. Like when you break it down in that sense, when you're road racing, they're down, they're squatted, and you just want to be able to have that low center of gravity on this. But even these, I've always felt like when I'm riding them, I got to toss them a little bit. I kind of have to like swing them. And we kind of came up with that on our own. We didn't really look outside the box or what other people were doing, but then to go look at the King of the Baggers bikes and seeing how high they are, I'm like, holy shit. A few of those guys are buddies of mine, and they're like, oh, I want to make this thing higher, but they won't let me,
Are there certain regulations and stuff that you
go? I mean, one of my buddies is on the factory Harley team, and he's just, they got to keep it within reason,
Gotcha.
But and it's funny because he's a little dude. He gets on that thing, he needs a stool to get up on it,
Once he's on it, though, it don't make no difference, man. He's gonna rip that thing.
Yeah, it's interesting talking to those guys and where they're at and how center of gravity is they just got to get that motor up off the ground,
Different weight transfer and all that stuff.
Man,
I think it goes with it.
Those bikes are weigh a lot.
I think a bagger roughly like just stock off of somewhere between 700-800 pounds. I think is what I understand. Yeah, they're heavy.
Yeah, man, not used to that.
You'll get used to it. Just flick them up and all that.
No, I've got it now, but I just respect when I'm loading that thing in our Sprinter van. I want like 15 people around. Help me get this thing in.
So, Brisa, maybe you can, because this is where I like to geek out a little bit on it. I know we're talking about your different models and your specs, but maybe you can kind of just briefly, give a kind of a breakdown of what a shock consists of. Because there's different components to it, shaft, or the shaft, the spring, the body of it. Like,
I'll let her explain. It's pretty simple compared to a fork, though, for the most part.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a lot more simple than a fork.
You guys brought the clear one too, yeah?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I'm gonna be stoked to see that. Yeah, I'm excited to see that. But on the shock, for the rear shocks themselves, what is kind of just the components that are breaking down on this?
Yeah, so you have the body, and then inside there's oil and a piston. So your piston's moving with the shock shaft, and then in here this is like nitrogen filled canister.
Okay.
And essentially the oil and the nitrogen, they work against each other basically for your damping.
Gotcha.
And your damping's there really to control the energy of the spring. So the spring we're swapping out, according to your rider weight, kind of what you're doing with the motorcycle.
Okay.
If you're riding like 2-up touring versus like more sporty. So there's a certain amount of preload. So
Gotcha.
like how much we preload the shock spring.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a lot of adjustability in that range. Like you can run, as you load your bagger up, you could just dial in some preload, take it off. So we want to get, where you're doing 51% of your riding in the middle of your preload range, basically. And then we switch out the shock spring to do that. And so then the valving, the air over here, the oil and the piston in here working, that's basically controlling like, the energy as the spring compresses on your compression side.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as it rebounds back, the hydraulic portion of the shock is basically controlling the energy of that. And so those are adjustable as well, like your compression, your rebound. So you can like, you know, slow down how much how fast your shock springs back or how slow it compresses.
Yeah.
So that's kind of basically like the gist of suspension in general. And it seems simple, but there is quite a lot that goes into, you know, your spring rate, and then like how much, you know, preload that you can run on that spring before it's just way too much. There's way too much energy potential in it, or not enough to basically get the valving to work. And then you have the valving that, you know, there's a lot of there's like you have a piston, and that's your oil filter, and then you have a bunch of shim stacks, and those are all like, they look like little tiny washers, almost. And then
that controls your oil flow, and we do a lot of custom for different people that request certain things, and that's where, don't mean to interrupt, but where we kind of pride ourselves with GP is we do a lot of custom for your needs.
I gotcha.
Custom tailored.
Yeah, there's a lot of like thicknesses of shims. Like you have the outside diameter of it, then you have the thickness of it, and that's basically like how much it's gonna flex under a given load. And so there's a lot of work, like, you know, fluid mechanics, fluid engineer, like
there's all these I'm hearing you, there's all these variables that are happening like so fast, and so like the shock is expanding, then it quickly compresses because road conditions change. So things are just moving, fluids are moving, air's moving, nitrogen's pushing and forcing, and then your passenger shifts left a little. Like there's so many things, and that's why I know that you break it down in simple terms of like, here's the body, here's the spring, here's the oil, here's the shaft. Yeah, those are the basic components of it. But I was geeking out when you were like, yeah, there's valving and there's and I'm like going, okay, so the fluid's like moving faster and slower. Like that's essentially what you guys are building, is figuring out how much does this person weigh, what type of ride, how aggressive are they? And
it's a full science, and you know, we'll come up with some ideas and then go on a quick rip on the bike, and then come back, pull suspension off, throw it on the dyno to verify things like, is that what's really happening? And we use our dyno a lot for verification. Not for settings, but for verification.
Yeah, I mean, like, just like even if you think about like compression alone, like just getting a valve stack and a piston that like allows your bike to be soft and flush off the top to absorb all those like little bumps that you feel on the road, like, you know, the little like jarring ones, but then like ramps up, and when you get like a big hit, like a big pothole or something, it's slowing the energy of that spring down, ramps up. So that's like all, you know, comes down to your valving, how like your basically your fluid flow.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of math,
There's a lot of
smart
stuff. That's what I was literally about to say the same thing. I'm like, there's a lot of smart going on built into that thing. Yeah. And people just, you know, consumer wise, we see a beautiful looking shock in the end and a good looking reservoir and something that looks like jewelry out there. But the difference in all of that years of experience and all those like trial and error and figuring out this spring rate and all just the different experience that you have equates to end up having a product that is what it is. And a friend told me a long time ago, and when he told me this, it clicked. And I went, oh, he said, suspension leads to usable horsepower. And I went,
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, that, and I changed my, and that was like 15 years ago or something. First little few years of me riding Harleys, it was all about loud stereo and big wheels and look at me, you know. That's what it was. And then I got a Dyna, and it was just stock stuff, and it is a canyon carver, man. We're here, look at where we're at, we've got it all here. And I started trying to chase him in the mountains and stuff, and you know, I squid, so to speak, in that term. But, you know, we stop, have a drink, whatever. And then, you know, that was one of the things that he told me. And after that, I went, wow. And I may not have been able to go get the GP stuff right out of the gate, but I got something better than what was on there. And I can tell you, just from doing that, I was like, I started to feel more comfortable. And I was absolutely right. I found more power in the bike because I felt more comfortable being able to give it a little, either more throttle on a straightaway because it wasn't wobbling or doing something stupid on me in the back, or just felt stable through a turn, whatever that may be.
The stability out of suspension is insane versus stock. It is insane, especially on the brakes.
It's so cool to see people like get suspension and just be blown away. Like I love selling suspension because I love seeing like people's reaction to getting a suspension. You know, like it just makes your bike way more fun to ride.
100 times.
Way more fun.
And safer, straight up safer.
And now when people ask, oh, well, what do you think do first? That's the question. Well, yeah, bars and seat, you gotta get your hands in your thing right. But after that, if you're not suspension, if it's not bar seat suspension, in my opinion, you're doing it like in the wrong order. I know that, and this is what I tell everyone. I'm like, I know when you buy suspension for your front end, nobody ever knows you just dropped a crap ton of money on it. Nobody knows. But you sitting in the seat will know every difference that money you spent makes. But and do they listen? Oh, yeah. They still go and upgrade the stereo and buy the wheels and the this and that, and then the last one sometimes ends up being the suspension.
Yeah.
But it's not until they get on something or they recognize or they just finally ran out of stuff to do.
Every now and then we'll have a bike that comes in for a ride in, and I'll look at it and be like, suspension is the first thing they're doing.
Yeah.
This person gets it. Like, I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
Yeah, that's if you're gonna buy a Harley, the bar seat suspension. If you really want to enjoy, I think the bike like right out of the gate as quickly as you can with the different mods.
Yep.
Bar seat suspension. Your hands are always on there.
Yeah.
So you got to feel comfortable. Your ass is always on that thing, and the wheels are always touching the ground.
Yeah, I'm pumped on how we did our bike. Like, we got a pair of seats. Freaking awesome.
Did you guys do is it the kickflip one?
Yep.
Everyone's, I mean, I have to imagine there's a reason that everyone's rocking that. It's a comfortable seat. I run a Lepera, but it's not the new one. It's the old daddy long legs, but boy, they know what they're doing. Lepera knows what they're doing.
It's awesome. And then, just the whole setup's awesome.
I'm glad to hear, man. I love to see that bike. I don't think I've seen. Is it at the shop? Is it kind of it lives at the shop?
Yeah.
I need to swing by there, man. I myself, I know we were talking about a little offline about trying to do something there. We will. I love.
Absolutely, we need to.
I think it would be a pretty good party that would.
And what's even cooler about you and I talking a few weeks ago, I had no idea you were on GP suspension. That was cool.
Really?
When you told I'm on GP, I was like, I know who you are. Like,
that's cool, man. Yeah,
I just watched your video.
I made the change, man. I ran Legends for a long time, and it was like, hey, you know what? I want to try something different. I want to do the 49 mil front end, and I'm like, GPs. I knew GP was here myself. I'm like, I want to hear what it's all about. And you know what I need to do? You and I talked about a little bit over there. I need to bring it by so you guys can mess with my rebound and my compression. I'll tell you what, I like the way it is right now. So I can imagine if you mess with it a little bit, you're going to dial me right in.
Absolutely. You got to come by.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you guys are located here in Oxnard, actually. That's where the shop is. Is it open to the public? I think sometimes a lot of people get misconstrued on whether shops can be visited or how that kind of works.
It's pretty much by appointment only.
I feel
because we are a manufacturer.
Yep. Okay.
But we do get ride-ins and stuff. But I mean,
we also are very if you call us you're like, hey, I'm in there, you're gonna drop by in 20 minutes. That's pretty much.
Yeah, but it's not like I've been there, and it's not necessarily like a shop where you just pop in and it's not. You guys are manufacturing, you guys are processing, you guys are research and development, you guys are working on race stuff or whatever it may be. You guys are there to.
It's loud. CNC machines humming. The lathes humming. Like probably some lame music on in the back, but I try to change that.
What's usually playing over there in the shop? Who's got control of the playlist over there?
If I'm there, Slayer's playing.
But you got to get the mood right.
That's
man.
right. But our little buddy back there, I don't know, man. Avril Lavigne.
Oh my God!
I like Avril Lavigne.
Yesterday, I was like, I put on some Mac Dre, and he was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "You're gonna listen to this.
You're gonna listen. You're gonna learn today."
Avril Lavigne was.
No way.
Is that what made you say, "I've got to go change this"?
Yeah,
Avril Lavigne.
Bluetooth off, my Bluetooth on.
I don't blame you, man. I'd have probably done the same thing. I
was like 1998 all over again.
Well, when we do a little something there, TR is going to come and bring the music, do what we do.
And now let's make a plan for that.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people would be just excited to be able to kind of just see the process, even if it's not, just peek in and go, oh, this is where it's built. This is what it is. That to me is important for people, I think, because they know the name, they know it's big, but then when they can meet you like this, you guys were very humble. Like I met, when we walked over there, I just saw your shirt just blasted. It said,
it was funny. I was like, when you said that, and I looked at you, I was like, thanks, man. I was like, wait a minute.
But you guys are that, and I think people, when they make that connection, when they relate and they know, oh, the people that are the face of the business, the people that run the business, are our people. You know, they're not they relate to us.
I mean, my friends are lifelong friends through racing and motorcycles. I mean, yeah, I've got my friends from school back in the day and stuff, but they're far and few between. But the relationships that I've made, it's all through motorcycles, and motorcycles has given my family back to me being a kid. I come from a motorsports family. My mom and dad at the racetrack with me every single weekend. I mean, I was probably at the track more than I was at high school. I mean, I graduated, but barely. But, I had to do my homework on the road, and, it's just lifelong friends from motorcycles, man.
Yeah, there's something about them. I owe it to my old man for introducing him to me, being just that old biker dude that just kind of got me into them.
Yeah.
Because it's really like, I wouldn't say my life has revolved around it, but my life has really been created through the people I know because of them.
For sure.
And there's a lot of cool people in it that I've met along the way. Like doing this stuff like this, I've been able to just, the experience that it's given me, I'm like blown away at what a stinking Harley Davidson can do for me. And I'm like, that is the lifestyle. That's why you guys are like, that's why I feel like you guys are on the like, oh man, the V-twin stuff, the Harley stuff is different. Because it kind of is, I did do street bikes and sport bikes, before the Harleys.
Yep.
And that culture, that people, that kind of genre was different. And I always wanted a Harley.
Yeah.
I always did. I always told my man, that's a piece of shit, man. They can't run for crap, man. I always, we'd go like that. But deep down in my heart, I'm like, that is a bad son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Man, chromed out, rumbling, all that shit. But, I had to give my man, old man shit.
Too.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't ride on the street or whatever, I had so much respect for it, and the people are cool. And I mean, there's some nerds and dorks, but there is everywhere,
Everywhere you go.
I've met so many cool people since we started. I love the Harley demographic.
Yeah.
I think they're so rad.
There's a lot of characters.
A lot of very principled people. I feel like a lot of blue collar.
And some badasses.
Yeah.
Like you're like, that dude's a badass.
Totally.
I think blue collar is a good kind of way to describe the majority of the demographic. There are some that are just, I own a Harley, and they like to have that under their belt. But for the most part, I think when you look around at like a place like mine, this is kind of what you would expect when you go and walk into a Harley guy's house of sorts. Just parts and just dirty monkey.
Just cool shit.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's a cool demographic. So I'm blessed. I'm thankful. And the front stuff. Is that what's in the front? Is that the front end stuff?
Yeah. So
can we geek out on that a little bit?
Yeah, totally. Thomas put together this really cool clear.
I saw that you guys. Is that new?
Yeah,
he did it not too long ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the that's the compression leg.
Okay.
And this is the rebound base valve leg.
So you guys. Okay. So you guys actually. So your guys' setup. One is set for rebound. One is set for compression. Either or I'm sorry.
Right, left.
Individually is what they are set for. Okay. So the one I'm staring at right now is rebound, is what you said?
Yeah, so the top piston you see is a rebound piston, the one that's on the right over there.
Down and below?
Yeah, and then the one on the bottom is called the base valve, and that's actually helps out with the compression stroke.
Okay.
So the rebound...
so what's the difference in that one than what it looks like? Just curious.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so you can see... There's you can kind of see the shim stacks on the top there.
Oh yeah.
Those are all your shim stacks. So all those
I see
move with the oil. And
so this
you can control.
This actually moves. I know it's hard to compress.
Yeah, right now for sure.
But this actually moves about. I mean, these have 117 millimeters of travel, so 4 point something inches. So that thing moves about 4 and some change inches. It's just hard. I mean, once you get it installed in your Harley and you've got the entire weight of your Harley sitting on it.
Plus, you have oil and everything inside of here. Like this thing is moving fluid up and down through it as it's going.
Yeah.
Moving these right there.
So does the oil stay below this portion of it? Is it all up into all the way up into here?
It's like the oil sits like about right here. So we have it 160 millimeters is where we set our oil from the port cap, but it's collapsed. So it has to be above this, which is called the seal head.
Gotcha.
So this entire body is bathed in oil. Like it has to be completely submerged in oil.
Gotcha.
If it sucks air into it, your suspension is very lifeless.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
like a hydraulic, like brake fluid type thing. If you got
Yeah,
air pocket
exactly,
in
yeah.
there, so, yeah.
You're gonna be riding basically on the spring. It'll feel like you don't have any valve.
So that's why when you're pouring oil in them, you gotta pump them.
Oh,
make
yeah.
sure you get
Yeah,
all
you gotta-
that.
you
all
have to
that
bleed
fluid
'em.
out of there.
You have to bleed them, and
Okay.
Yeah.
So, is this for a 49 mil front end? What am I staring at right
That's
now?
a bagger. That's like what's in your front end.
Okay, so this is actually what's in my front end.
That's
then.
exactly what's in your front end.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So different springs then you guys would put then for the weight of the rider,
Mhm.
that all of this. So when you guys are talking to somebody, someone contacts you, you guys are taking the amount of
the
information.
normal call from back east is, "Hi, Brisa. Me and my woman, we weigh 800 pounds together." So, no,
She's laughing because it's
No.
true. She got a phone call just
Yeah.
like that today, probably.
Oh,
we get a few of those, or she gets a few of those, but
we have it. We have the suspension for you.
yep, we do. That's what I'm getting at. Hey, no disrespect to them.
Of
It
course
is what
not.
it is, but
You
it's
called the right place.
It's crazy. And then, like today, we were dealing with a lady that might weigh 125 pounds that rides a bagger. Like she's light, and we were like, okay, she's a little stiff right now. We got to figure this out for her.
Yeah.
So it's both ends of the spectrum. But every now and then you get those calls like, "Me and my woman combined." You're like,
I love it.
whoa, and you got to go to work then.
Yeah.
Then you got to go to work and start
Yeah.
plugging in numbers and doing what you guys do and all that stuff.
Yeah, we have about like 20 different spring rates.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we have a lot of different spring rates we have.
That seems. I mean, well, I guess not in the terms of when you're talking about 125 pound rider all the way up to people that weigh 800 pounds. I guess then you would need a variation.
"Oh yeah, absolutely."
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we don't use all of the. I will say, we really only use, I don't know, probably like 10 to 15 for the baggers. Because I mean, it's a heavy bike, so it's gonna be on the heavier end. And
Gotcha.
20 different spring rates, like between all of our year make and models.
A little too light,
Yeah,
probably
so-
for it. I feel it. Okay, makes sense. And you guys make all this stuff in house, man. This is crazy.
Springs we don't make.
Springs.
Those
Okay.
are made in Oregon, but we do
Yeah.
engineer them. Like we give them very
Yeah, that's
specific.
our setting.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
Our
it's like you
Still
wouldn't.
on American
There's a
soil, though.
lot of
Yes,
things that
sir.
go into making a spring. I know it sounds like crazy, but the spec card for our springs is like pretty in depth.
I would imagine because I would think that like heat and all kinds of different things of how they spin these things are that is the tension that's how they get the spring rate that you guys require, the metals and all the different things that go into it.
Yeah, and it like you have to travel a certain amount, it has to have a certain travel a certain amount, and it's also it can't coil bind. Length, wire diameter plays a big role in that. Like, there's
so much involved in these things
Yeah,
that people do.
yeah.
And this is exactly why I tell everyone nobody will ever know, but this is like a perfect. I don't know if you guys are going to show this at a display or if you guys are doing that at your show.
We're gonna make a couple more of those.
This is like beautiful, I think, for people to see because one, it's just for someone like me, it's cool. It's a work of art. If you really kind of not even if you have to understand it, but just kind of basics geometry.
Yeah.
There's a work of art. There's a lot of time that went into this to get to this final product right here. And I know we don't see it. I know it's encased in oil and it's all that and it's dirty and it's this, that, and the other. But I'm telling you, this is good for you guys to have out there, man, because people will now be able to kind of at least visualize what it is. Like, oh, I hope you put a stock one right next to this thing.
Yeah.
That's what you should do.
We should do that.
Yeah, put a stock one right next to this thing here.
Yeah, and then also a lot of our anodizing and stuff, we do it a little differently than our competition. And reason being is we get a lot longer oil life. It just stays cleaner longer, and just flows better.
We use
clean.
a Type 3 hard ano, and that's like it's a good ano. Like the only thing that we don't do Type 3 on is if you have a red or blue preload adjuster, that's Type 2 because they don't do Type 3 in that.
But the cartridge body itself, everything's anodized. Everything is coated.
Yeah, I've had the caps and everything have held up very, very well when they're sitting out there in the sun and all that stuff. I mean, they're sitting out there regularly. But I do know, I notice now that you say like the red ones, because I have the red ones, so they don't have the same type of anodizing on them. Yeah, I see the different levels. They sit out in the sun, things happen. I get it, but you can't provide it in that type of level. Provide it in the next best. But Really cool setup, guys. I mean, they are, to me, bang for buck, worth it. I know when people hear, if you're not familiar with suspension, it's probably a sticker shock for some people, maybe like right out of the gate.
It is. It's not cheap. It's not cheap, but nothing is really for these bikes. Like if it's quality, like everything is expensive.
It's not cheap, but it's something that, like you said, Risa, the feeling you get when someone like goes, whoa, or like the facial expression when they come back from having it on their bike and they go, oh man, that's what you're getting, and if you're riding your bike any amount, you want it to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Like you should want it to be comfortable, because I told you, suspension leaves a usable horsepower, but if it's comfortable, you'll ride it longer. Yeah. You'll be able to ride it longer distances, and just, there's a lot of benefits that come from this.
Benefits, exactly. And you're going to go put all this money into, a cam, whatever you're going to do, exhaust and mapping and putting power to the ground.
Yep.
Suspension's the next. I mean, it's absolute necessity on these things.
And even when you're looking at street bikes, sport bikes, they're still upgrading the suspension. They come with some pretty decent suspension out of the box, but they're still upgrading.
So, yeah, for sure. Road race bikes now, I mean, they're really good stock.
Really?
Like, really good. Like one of my jobs in the past was for Suzuki, and I'd go get the bikes, the stock, the GSX-R 1000 and 600 and 750, get them ready for the editors to ride.
Okay. In
stock trim on race tires. And I was blown away how fast we could get going on those things, lap time wise, with stock suspension. Now, you can't do it lap after lap like you can on our suspension or somebody, an upgrade. But it's really good. Where the Harleys, it's just shit. It's so bad. I mean, you sit on
really
it.
Bad.
I mean, we were at Ventura Harley this weekend doing an event they had on Saturday, and I just went and sat on a lowrider ST. And
how was it? I wanted to go by there, but
it was fun.
I went for a ride.
Good for you.
Yeah, but I wanted to ride by there, but I didn't make it by.
It was fun. It was quick, but it was we had a great time and talked to a lot of people. It was cool.
Yeah, I actually saw some pictures, and you guys were set up out there. I think I saw you guys in one of the reels or something.
Yeah. But just sitting on that lowrider, I was like, bone stock. It was on the showroom floor, and I was like, man, it's awful. Like, it's just
when you sit on it, you can feel it just kind of dumb. Yeah.
Even like the new inverted stuff. Like we've been doing a lot of those new CVO 47 millimeter inverted fork front end kits.
Is that what those are? They're 47 mil?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
But the cartridge that comes out of those is it's so small.
So it's so innocent. I mean, and I figured when I saw it, I'm like, this is an aesthetic thing. Like
I mean, it definitely rides better stock.
Yeah, I got to ride Jeff Holt's.
It rides better than a stock. A normal stock front end would be.
Bar, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Harley guy, but I'm also a realist, and I know that that's not a component that they spend a lot of money on.
So we have a kit for those, but Jeff Holt just visited us, and I got to ride his stock, and then we did put all our stuff on it and then ride it after. And man, I had a smile on my face. Just to ride it back to back like that, it was like, hell yeah.
Night and day difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's cool because I want to see, man, is there really I want to see where we're at.
Of course.
And I also want to hear bad feedback and also be true to myself. Like this is not right. But anyways, I was stoked. It was right.
Man, that's a very important part of business. In order to keep growing, you've got to hear feedback, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it may be. So it's good to have you. It's good for people to hear that, hey, tell me what you think about this stuff.
Yeah. Because
that's the way it gets better.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Totally.
And you may take their opinion and say you're full of shit. Yeah. But that's okay too.
Yeah. Well,
we've changed a lot of the ways that we do things over the years, based on just the R&D that we do.
When we first started going back on the V-twin stuff, the very first bike that we really okay, this is our final product, we're gonna put it in, and it was Brian Gluck's, a buddy of ours, and he's like, I'm riding. I think he was riding a Sturgis, and I was like, oh shit, I was really nervous, just riding a Sturgis on, and he came back, he was pumped, all was good. I was sweating bullets just because that was really our, we hadn't gone into full production. There's a lot of prototyping and stuff, but that was it was done the way we wanted to manufacture.
Yeah.
So anyways, worked out to be fine, but we have changed a lot, and that's why we took our time. we didn't come in and just be loud. We wanted to just take our time, and we do pride ourselves a lot on our history.
That's important, and organic is very important. Like just coming in and doing it right, and making sure that the GP name still carries on, even if it's a new thing you're venturing into.
Yeah,
it's important that whatever component you come out, that name is represented. You guys are big in the game, man. I was
thank you.
I was appreciative that you guys were like, hey, yeah, we'll come and sit down. I'm like, my wife was like, they're coming with you. I'm like, yeah, they're really cool.
We're all the same, man. We're all the same.
That's exactly what I tell a lot of people. Is we all have a passion for the same shit. And now that you guys are getting into the Harley stuff, you're gonna have even higher passion. You're gonna be like, oh, that's what they like. You guys been to like the stunt stuff, like with the Harleys doing the stunt stuff? Yeah, that's fun, man. I mean, being from California, being from Southern California, being in the Harley thing for a while, maybe 10, 12-ish years ago, friends started doing wheelies on Harleys. I'm like, I was like, Harleys are getting up on one wheel right now. Then I saw baggers, and I'm like, yeah. I saw all my homies in NorCal and stuff. I'm like, all right. But then I started to get a little desensitized to it. I'm like, I see it all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I go to Neptune's and it's the same shit. And I'm like, but it's pretty damn cool to actually see like what it has become. It has brought in that younger generation.
We had a stunt show today.
We did have a stunt.
Did
show
you
today.
at the shop?
we stopped by Miller Speedco, and
Bryce is the homeboy. I'm trying to get him over. I told him I'd go over to his place too. Yeah.
So Cade was unloading his bike. I went to throw him a hand, and he started that thing, and like literally
left his entire tire in the parking lot.
It was badass. I love the way he rides. He's badass.
He's a monster.
Gets my respect straight up.
And good fabricator.
He's unreal.
Good at what he does as well too. Like
he's really
good rider. He's one of the guys that like came up in this stuff. So his craft is because he's been involved in it.
I just like his whole style, everything about him. He's his own dude. And he's badass. He's got skills.
He's a good guy. Yeah. Bryce is a good guy. That shop over there, they do a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
They actually. Yeah, I just got back from them. I had a lot of port seal thing over there, so I'm like, hey, GP stuff. I'm like, here, man. He's like, we got everything you need. Bring it over here, man.
Cool.
They took care of me very well, man.
Nice.
Yeah, good shop. I've known Bryce for quite some time.
Yeah, they sell a lot of our stuff. A lot.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome. They built our bagger, and we love it.
Yep.
I gotta see this bagger. I want to come by the shop or something,
it's
man.
Still working. We're in like stage 2.5.
I keep telling him, like, you need to post pictures of it. He's like, it's not done yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we like to see the build too.
I know.
Yeah.
Have good bars on it and stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay. What setup did you go with?
I went with Thrash and Supply.
Good setup.
I really like their stuff.
Did you do the pullback stuff or anything?
I did.
Or is it all?
Yep.
So the pullback plate or
I did
bars that
top triple clamp, and then it's the risers.
The risers pull back.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. What's 9.5? What'd you do with them?
We did 6s.
6s.
And then a 2-inch bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's comfortable.
Didn't want to go super.
Yeah.
Just kind of comfortable.
Yeah.
That way, there's a few of us riding that bike. It's not just my bike. It's
of course.
Everybody can ride it at the shop. So,
So those are all set, done. You relocated the gauges, all that.
Everything.
The whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That's a clean setup. Right
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. We did a Mackie cam, and then we did a Bassani exhaust, and we got Brembo calipers, like actual road race Brembo calipers, proper ones. We haven't put those on yet. We got rotors coming. It's a cool little project.
It's a cool project. Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it.
You got some Mackie product. That engine is all built by Monty.
Yeah.
Formerly, I guess, Mackie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's like the second or third one. I had that thing because I ride hard.
Yeah.
And
Good.
Every time it blew up, boy, everyone goes, "You blew it up again." I'm like, "Yeah, but I had a smile on my face when that shit happened." I was grinning ear to ear when that shit happened. But
I like your style.
That's my style. Hey,
no blame. You know what you're doing.
Pay to play, man.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. I'm twisting that throttle really hard, and things happen.
Yeah.
I remember when it happened. My buddy was like, "Hey, did you?" I had no idea, but we got to the end of the canyon, and he goes, "Dude, there was a bunch of oil that just spewed out." I'm like, "Really?" And I look back, and I didn't know, but I guess the oil hit all these and just smoke and all that stuff. And I look back, and I'm like,
better than on your rear tire.
Oh man! Woo. So some metal went through my thing, and I think what I realized happened. I think the oil pump is probably sitting on the bench over there. I was playing with it trying to make something the other day. But anyways, something went through it, and it just got stuck. Like oil got stuck in the pump, and I was running.
Yeah.
And then it went right through it, and that was the end of that.
The whole, I hear you. It happens.
It's name of the game, you know.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. I built the hot rod engine to have some
Yeah.
fun with it.
Yeah.
And things break, you know.
They sure are.
Ride,
fun.
break, rebuild, repeat. Man, that's the name of the game.
Oh man, I've crashed a lot of shit back in my road race days. A lot. It happens.
How many? I mean, I don't really like talking about it too much, but you got to have some crashes underneath your belt from doing all that road racing. Man.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of the end of it for me. I got hurt in 07 pretty bad.
That was
I was a 140 mile an hour get off.
damn boy.
Yeah. And then,
Scooting. Yeah.
but I came back and raced in 09, and in 2014 was my last year. 2014.
Time to hang them up.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just hard to make money racing, and I love to do it, but I was going broke doing it because
My father-in-law raced. He's older now. He doesn't do it as much, but sprint cars, stuff like that.
I'm a huge sprint car fan.
Did he race for like 30 years? Man.
What's the name?
Ed Kohler. He's
Okay.
Yeah, but he 30 something years, man, and just money,
Yeah.
money.
In 2009, when I quit, I quit to go race sprint cars.
Oh.
But then realized that just too much going on, and realized, man, this is a huge deal. Like to get into all, it's the same as racing,
Yep.
road racing. So it
And
didn't
you-
happen. It didn't happen. But I wanted to be a sprint car racer bad.
Any amount of racing is expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a dollar amount tag
Yep.
to it. So.
But I am a huge sprint car fan.
Well, listen, I want to get out on a ride with you.
Heck
When
yeah.
is this Dyna you think going to be?
Dude,
Is it
let's
operation? Is it
Right.
operational right now? Is it running?
It's getting framed
All right,
tomorrow.
so someone needs-
It's getting what?
It's getting framed tomorrow.
It's getting framed tomorrow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's a ways out. I'd say
So it's not running.
no.
It's in no running
No.
condition.
It's running.
not.
The frame's gonna be running to the powder coater tomorrow,
Yeah.
and swing arm and triple clamps.
Any modifications to the frame or anything like that? Did you guys do anything of that sort, or?
To be honest, Kate's kind of running the deal on
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's why the visit over there.
Yeah.
yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly.
Well, I could. I mean, not that my opinion means anything, but that's a good person's hands to have
Oh.
it. To have it. In.
We were
Sure.
nerding out today, like
Oh, I'm sure.
nerding out.
Yeah.
So I had some ideas on some things, and then he, from his experiences, had even better ideas.
Yeah,
and it's just-
at the end of the conversation, I was like, just do it.
You're gonna have a Cade bike. You're gonna have a nice. You're gonna have a Miller Speed Co. Cade kind of
Yeah.
collaboration.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a good looking,
Yeah.
clean
It's gonna be
bike
sick.
coming out.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh, I'm excited to see that thing now
So
too.
excited.
yeah,
Well, maybe I'll have to swing by Bryce and goes, hey, let me get a peek of that thing when it comes
Yeah.
back. When it comes back from the powder
yeah.
coater.
It's gonna be full tilt. Full tilt.
I'm excited to see that 39 mil front end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you doing? Can you just add fairing or naked?
Fairing.
Fairing. Yeah.
Fairing. I
Yeah.
won't ask what. I won't ask for a lot of details. You
And
guys.
we're gonna have some trick shocks, GP shocks for that thing that we've got it. We're kind of coming up with
Debuted
something.
it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say it because I'm excited about it. Like I'm
I-
really excited.
As
about
you
it.
should be. It sounds
Yeah.
like it's going to be a hot build, and it's
Yeah.
going to be. You'll then have your Harley to ride around with the people, I guess,
And then
so to speak.
September we'll have a lowrider ST build going.
Ooh,
in
okay.
September. Yeah.
So you guys are getting a little bit of everything here. The soft tail stuff, 39 mil, the bagger stuff.
Yeah.
You guys have really kind of encompassed the whole Harley.
Well, we wanted to get like the new Dyna Softail, which is the new, it's a new. And then we wanted a bagger, and I was like, we gotta get, and then I want the classic. Like,
The biggest thing is though, I mean, we need a lot of this stuff for R&D.
Of
And
course.
the other thing
Yep.
is we're enthusiasts. We ride.
Yeah.
You know, we ride motorcycles. Like
Yep.
we're motorcycle people.
It's a win-win, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You get to have them. You get to research and develop. It's a win-win for it all the way around. So it's interesting now, though. Not a lot of your business seems like it's more V-twin Harley based now. Now that you're
is.
kind of gone this way.
We haven't pulled away from the racing side, but we're gonna maintain and work with people we have. We're not
Yeah.
looking for new people there, but on the V-twin side, that's our focus. And
I'm
that's-
excited for it, man. I'm
100%.
excited for this. So how can and what's the best way for people to kind of like reach out to GP? The easiest? I know you're answering the phone. You're probably like, you could just email me. Like, I know, girl. I know. But I mean, people sometimes, I've talked to people being in this industry, air quotes I say now, and sometimes people are intimidated. They think, oh, I can't talk to them. I'll remind everybody, just go and say hi. Go and
Totally.
that's literally what I literally said, hey, GP suspension, good stuff.
Yeah.
And from there, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, whatever it is,
Yeah.
here we are chopping it up.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Well, the only reason we were there was from the post that you put up, and I came across it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys
was
came
like,
across it.
This is cool.
This
I want to
is-
go see these people.
So bike night is happening. We had bike. We started working with Law Tigers to do a bike night for Cycle Gear. They teamed up with Cycle Gear. But anyways, we work with them. So they do a second Tuesday bike night, which just happened this last Tuesday.
Yeah.
But we do our third Tuesday bike night in Santa Paula,
Okay.
which is this coming Tuesday. So if you guys are around, it's a good time. We do slow races. We have music. We have some
Okay, that's
giveaways. We usually have about 50, 60 bikes
That's
roll
good.
up throughout the night or something.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a good time. Everyone has a good time. No bullshit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of tacos, all that stuff.
Heck yeah, tacos.
Tacos and beer. Tacos and beer. Tacos, beers, and Harleys.
Man.
And music. It sounds like a good time to me.
Yeah.
So, but just
Yeah.
extending the invite. It goes down every third Tuesday. So if you can't make it this month,
Okay.
we post it. If
We'll
you're
definitely
kind
be
of
there
following along.
sooner than later.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what is the best way? What is the most efficient and best way for people to kind of get in contact with you guys?
Honestly, you can call us.
Okay.
Yeah, we have. I mean, it's our web. You know, if you want to buy the product, it's our website's really set up to do that. You know, you just. enter
Oh,
all
you
your
can buy it
information.
all right there online.
Yeah, yeah, we have. It'll
I didn't know that.
ask
Okay.
you for your weight, riding style, basically all the information we need for your build.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if you have questions about it, just call us. Like, I'm more than happy to help you out with
And you're you're an encyclopedia of knowledge with this stuff. So
It's been a long
Ridiculous.
it's been a long time.
time.
Well,
It's been a
it's
long time.
master of the trade, so to speak,
Absolutely.
in that term. You've dedicated some time to the craft. So
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with experts in their field. So okay, so it's gpsuspension.com. Is that what the website is? That's pretty simple.
Yep.
Pretty straightforward.
Good enough. Yep.
And then Instagram, of course, you guys kind of post. Who runs that thing, by the way?
We both
kinda back and
We're,
forth.
we're both
we
we're really bad, but we're
Joe and I
actually
do the
It's
same.
so
we're-
bad.
We're just in literally within days of getting things changed around to where we both have more time to give to it.
I feel
Yeah.
Because it's our Instagram is very organic. Like those are really our followers. We didn't buy
Yeah.
anything like.
I would say that our
Same.
like really bad, like our weakness is our marketing.
Yes.
Because I feel like we do make the best product for front ends, like on the market, and our shocks too. But our marketing is so like we
We're just baby steps. We're just
Yeah.
spread thin.
I'm going to give you my opinion on how you say that, because I'd rather know that a company spends more time developing and doing this type of shit and spending more focus on actual good product than making sure that people believe that it is a good product. Like, I'd rather it be like, well, you spent your time on it because of this. I feel you. As a media brand, that's a whole job. It's
It
a
is.
whole, like, it's
It
a
is. I mean,
whole thing.
Especially now, like trying to compete with like the
Everything
ridiculous videos that people put together. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, this is amazing. Like, how do you do this?
The amount, the content that people watch, even that I catch myself watching as I'm scrolling through Instagram, I sometimes go, "What the hell am I watching?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know,
I'm uncomfortable with when I scroll.
I know.
I'm like, what am I looking at?
Oh,
This
that's
is embarrassing.
We live in social media world now.
It's
It's
hard.
it's a necessary evil.
When
Oh,
anybody
no.
ever,
Yes.
I know.
when resumes come across my desk or a phone call and they start with, "I'm an entrepreneur." Wait, no, I'm a
entrepreneur. Influencer?
I'm an influencer. Right
Oh,
there is
gosh.
next. I want nothing to do with this.
So bad.
Nothing to do with it.
Hey, fair enough, man. Fair enough, because
They do sell though.
Some.
some.
Yeah. If you're, I guess,
I think the proof is in the pudding. You know why it would sell to me or for somebody like me is when I see somebody that's riding a bike where I'm like, "What do you got on your bike?"
Yeah.
GP. Sold.
Heck
You know,
yeah.
that's more why I would sell versus like a very nice picture of it or something. You know, that's needed. But you got guys like me. Believe me, you got guys like me, not silently, but advocating for you.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like, yeah, I got this stuff on my bike. I came from this stuff. I do feel a difference. I could probably get it dialed in by them even more than what it already is.
Yep, totally.
But the people that run this stuff and are out there, and you know, it's a lot now. It's moving. It's out there now.
Yeah.
I guarantee that all of them are sitting out there going, "No, this is well worth it. You need to invest into it." So they're advocates for you guys because I know the product is what it is, man.
Thank you.
So keep banging it out, man. You guys are doing a great job. I mean, not that you need my pat on the back or anything like that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Much appreciated.
this is cool.
Yeah, no, I always geek out on stuff like this. I'm sure that I could geek out with you guys for hours on end. We'll probably end up sitting here talking about this thing for a little bit, but I really do appreciate you guys coming and rolling down. Make sure you follow these guys on Instagram. They're gonna get more marketing. They're gonna get some more.
We're gonna step it up.
They're gonna step
it up.
Start with the bike. Start with the new bike. Like start showing pictures of that at least.
We're gonna influence. We're working on influence.
He's very much letting perfection be enemy of the good.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, what was that called?
Yeah, it's because you want it to be to a certain level. You know
like,
what?
just post it.
The only advice I'm gonna give you before we go on that note is the same thing.
Agreed.
When I started with this, I was always in my head like, no, it doesn't sound right. I sound like an idiot. I sound stupid. I sound this. I sound that.
Yeah.
And then I realized, just post it. Who cares? The people that are interested in this are gonna tell you. You came across the show over there because you're like, oh, this isn't. That's how it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Anybody that's critiquing me in the way I sound and the way I stutter and the way I this.
Yeah.
Not interested in your damn.
No doubt.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys, thank you guys very damn much for coming and hanging out.
Yeah.
It was fun. I appreciate it. Follow GP Suspension on Instagram. We're gonna do something over at their shop here soon. We're gonna figure something out.
Let's put something together for sure.
I'm excited for this monoshock thing.
Me too.
Me too.
Guys.
I'm so.
And the bike builds.
Yeah.
It's good times.
Thanks, guys. All right, guys. So you guys have a good rest of the night. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Appreciate
Every Thursday, 7 o'clock here on the YouTube channel. All right. See ya.